brother. Appreciate you. Good to see you, man. All right, man. Hey, great to be with you guys today, man. Got to see a little bit of y'all playing up from the stands. Man, got chilly outside. Got cold. This boy from Texas, man, it's 100 degrees when I left the house today. Got here is about half that. So I said, man, can we get this inside? We don't need to be outside. Let's keep it warm and in the locker room. A gift to get to be with y'all. I have one very simple message. One very simple idea that I talk about everywhere I go. It's something I believe with all of my heart. And the reason I want to share this message with you today is because of how talented you are. A lot of times I get to speak with athletes that are wanting, hoping, working to get to be where you are. Y'all are at a different level. And it makes this message that much more important. Because we live in a world that loves talent, that celebrates talent, raises up talent over and above all else. And that if you are a winner, by whatever definition you can come up, if you can win, you can get away with a lot of stuff. And it's just the world we live in. Winning forgives a lot of sins. But the problem with that is that while winning may get you out of some things and get you exempt from things that other people aren't exempt from, what it will also exempt you from, if you lack character, is it will exempt you from becoming your best. Y'all's best is so good that you could be 80% and you're still better than most people. But your best demands more than just talent. If you're to reach your potential, not only in the game of baseball, but in the game of life, it would demand of you more than just talent. It's going to require great character. And that's why I'm here today. Because this one idea that I believe. Championship people win championships. Championship people win championships. That if you want to reach the fullness of that which you can become, you'll be limited by your character long before you will your talent. That you could have $1 million worth of talent. Some of you have tens, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of talent in development. But if you have a $10 character, think of it like this. It's like those jokers who get into the gym who got the big 400-pound bench press but a 100-pound squat. Big upper body, tiny little chicken legs, lower body. Your character is your foundation. And if it's not strong enough to hold the weight of your talent, then what will happen is your talent will crush the foundation you stand upon, and you will be disqualified from that which you can become. And fellas, I want more for you than that. I don't want you to be disqualified. You've worked too hard. You've sacrificed too much. Your dreams are too big. You are too valuable to be disqualified by a lack of character. But what I want you to see, and what we'll talk about today, is that great character not only keeps you from being disqualified, it actually makes your talent better. You see, great character is a talent amplifier. It has a way of taking the things that you do on the field and amplifying them and make them better. For example, when you have that work ethic, just that blue collar, put on your work boots, wake up every morning, get up and go do the work. When you have a work ethic like that and you're not driven by praise, but you're driven by this motor inside that says who I am is a hard worker, so I can't help but work hard. Then when those who need the praise to unlock their hard work don't get it, guess what? You start moving past them. You step into the weight room. You're getting more out of the weight room because of the work you're putting in. When you have humility and you're getting coached up, your pride doesn't puff up against the correction and the coaching. Say, yeah, I got it. That pride doesn't puff up and keep you from being taught, but instead in humility, you say, look, I'm eager for more truth. I'm hungry to learn. A broken clock is right twice a day. You be the dumbest joker in the room, but if you got something to teach me, I want to learn it. You see, that's a matter of character. And those things have a way of seeping into the locker room and onto the field, making your talent better. We think about being great teammates. And I know in an organization like this, in baseball, it can sometimes feel like you're on a team of one. You're recruited, scouted, all of these things. But I'm convinced the players that do it the best are the best teammates. And if I were to ask you what makes a great teammate, Well, I'll ask you, what makes a great teammate? If Elon Musk showed up here, Dunkin' Donuts Park, is it Dunkin' Donuts? It's not. That's not correct anymore. Just Dunkin' Park. Whatever. They still have good donuts. If Elon Musk were to show, look, man, I'm a lineman, okay? I'm big body, 292, all right? I'm never going to shy away from a donut. If Elon Musk could show up and he said, look, I can create for you the perfect teammate. Just give me the inputs. What inputs would you give him? How would you describe the perfect teammate? You tell me.
Positive all the time.
Positive energy, positive attitude. What else? Selfless. What else? You can trust him. What else? Humble. What else? That's 4. Give me a few more. Motivated. What else? Charismatic. Discipline. Give me 2 more. Empathy. What else? Perseverance. Supportive. That's 11 traits that you gave me of the ideal, perfect teammate. And guess how many of them require great talent? 0. You could be the slowest dude in the room, the worst hitter, the worst fielder, the dumbest dude in the room, and you can still do those 11 things. You see, we understand intuitively that being a great teammate has everything to do with character. Because I'm willing to bet you've seen those teammates who have great talent, crappy character, and you don't want anything to do with them. In fact, if you could get them off the team, you would almost rather lose without them than win with them. Character wins. And what's interesting to me is that character wins at the highest levels. In fact, about a month ago, I was with Clemson football out in South Carolina with Dabo Sweeney. And I was standing there talking, sharing a very similar message with them as I'm sharing with you. He says, Mackey, you say championship people win championships. We say better people make better Tigers. But what we understand is that if you don't have a high enough character, your talent can't make up for it. And what he told me was that they offer the 3rd fewest amount of players in the country. I said, what do you mean, Coach? He said, think about Stanford. He said, you got to have a certain level of talent, but then you also have to have a certain level of academic qualifications to get in. There's just not a lot of guys that have both, so they don't offer a lot. We do the same thing, but with character. If we don't think that your character is high enough, we don't care how talented you are. At the highest of levels, no program been in the college football playoffs more than Clemson. The highest levels, character wins. And so my challenge for us today is to lean into and to ask the question, what does great character look like? What does a championship character look like? And why does it matter even more than building talent? When I talk about character, there are 6 things I think about. I call them the 6 pillars. And these 6 ideas, I believe if you go all in on these, the same way you've gone all in on your pitching and on your fielding and on your hitting and your running and all the things that you do on the field, you go all in on these 6 things, you build a championship character and you become unstoppable. That it doesn't really matter what's between where you are and where you want to be, the distance or the adversity, the obstacles between you and your goals, your character will allow you to persevere through. Number 1, tough people win. Tough people win. Where toughness is not just this idea, hey, that I'm bigger and badder than John Wayne. I can grab a rattlesnake by the tail, pop its head off, put me through a tough workout. I can make it through. That toughness is found and defined by knowing your value. Now, when you know your value and worth, then it doesn't really matter what you have to do to protect it. You'll do it. Think about your mom. Hey, man, y'all might be some calm, cool brothers. But somebody, hey, I love Jesus. But somebody talks about my mama don't mean you can't catch his hands. Are you with me? Like, hey, I'll go Old Testament on you, all right? I'm going to keep the scriptures in it. I'm just going to go Old Testament. Because, hey, mama means something. You with me? And you'll do what to protect. Think about your iPhone. All right? Now, some of you, you're living right. You got the iPhone 14 already. The iPhone 14 got the newest fancy technology. Think about when you got your first iPhone. My kids pester me. Dad, can I get a phone? No. Dad, can I get a job? Then we'll talk about it. When you got that first iPhone, boy, I bet you were even tempted. You got the case, the screen protector. You walked around just like it was a treasure. And I bet you were even tempted to go with that hip clip, like the old men just put the clip on the hip just to make sure it doesn't even get scratched up in the pocket. Anybody? No, no. You see his face? He was like, "Ooh, you had me up until that point." Hey, don't worry, man. Being an old man is gonna hit you fast. Don't worry. Anyway, you protected it because you knew its value. But think about those of you who still got like the iPhone 6, cracked screen, like it was your dad's, passed down to your mom, passed down to your older sister, passed down to you. It only works if it's on speakerphone. You know, you can't even, and it's all messed up. You don't care if you drop it, and you're kind of like hoping you drop it in the toilet. You know what I mean? So maybe you could get a new one. Because it's not worth anything to you, so you don't protect it. When you know something's value, it changes how you see it. It changes how you interact with it. And here's what I want you to get. It's the key to being tough. When you know your value and your worth, it changes how you see you. It changes how you work. It changes how you see your failures and your successes. Too many of you think that you are worth it because you're good at baseball. Too many of you find your value and worth in how you perform. That's why when you play well, boy, you're sky high living good. But when you go up against somebody who's got something you can't hit, when you have a bad day, what happens? You ride the roller coaster. Anybody know somebody like that? Ride the roller coaster? Nod your head if you're with me. That's because you're finding your value and worth in the game of baseball. And fellas, I'm standing in the middle of a beautiful field around some guys that are going to be in the big leagues one day, and I'll stand here and with full confidence tell you, I don't give a rip how good you are at baseball. I could care less. Because baseball doesn't define who you are. Baseball is not where your value, your identity, your worth can come from. Because one day the game of baseball will be taken away. Whether it's by choice or not, one day the game is gone. And if your value and worth is found in baseball, your identity is found in baseball, then what happens when it gets taken away? And you say, Mac, that's a long time away. Maybe. But if you get a taste of it when you play poorly and you get in the slump and you get downright depressed and ain't nobody want to be around you, you think negatively of yourself when you're just in a slump, how much more so will you think worse of yourself when it's taken away? You see my point? Your value and worth is not found in who you are as a baseball player. Your value and worth is found in the fact that there's breath in your lungs. That who you are as a person is enough. Being better at baseball doesn't make you more lovable. Being better at baseball doesn't make you more valuable. Being recruited to a D1 versus a D2, being drafted straight out. I know they put numbers on you, but that's not your value. That's not your identity and your worth. And once you get that, here's what happens. And I want you to see, this is why it makes you better at baseball. So we're talking about it now. Once you get that your value and worth is not found as you as a baseball player, but it's you as a person, then all of a sudden the failures don't hurt so much. All of a sudden the bad games don't hurt so much because those aren't judgments on your value. Hey man, that was just judgment on my performance. And I can adjust a performance. That's no problem. Once you realize you're worth the work, you start going, you know what? I don't have to work hard to shame myself into growth. But instead I can work hard from a place of pride. I want to make the difference because this is important. You'll never shame yourself into growth. How many of you, show of hands, you swing at a bad pitch, you make an error, you do something you know you shouldn't have done. How many of you cuss yourself out on the inside? Raise your hand. Yup. You cuss yourself out. Anybody ever throw a helmet like it was the helmet's fault? Yep. Hit the bat on the ground like it was the bat's fault? No. Listen. When we don't understand our value and worth, we try to shame ourselves into growth. And it'll never happen. When you understand just how valuable you are, you go, you know what? I'm worth learning this. I'm worth getting this right. So even though I got it wrong, because I'm worth it, I'm going to do the work to get it right. You work from a place of pride, not from shame. And I'm telling you, once you get to that place, you become unstoppable. Once you work from a place of pride, bro, I'm worth waking up early. Bro, I'm worth staying up late. Hey, I'm worth putting in the extra reps. I'm worth humbling myself and getting coached and getting coached hard. I'm worth that. And so I'm going to do it. When you know something's value, you do whatever it takes to achieve it or protect it. Tough people win. That's how you get tough, fellas. That's how you push through the hard workouts, through the slumps. That's how you push through, is you know that you are worth it, regardless of how well you play. That's tough people win. It's the first characteristic of a championship character. Tough people win. If championship people win championships, number 2, all right, integrity over everything. One of the things that we talk about, you even heard it here, we say we get an ideal teammate. Hey, they got to be trustworthy. That I got to know that their word matters. That I can trust them on Saturday night the same as I can trust them in the bottom of the ninth. That I can trust them to handle business on the field and off. That I can trust that they are for me. That when they compete with me, that they're bringing their best for my good. You see, that trust, we talk about leadership. The currency of leadership is trust. You want to be a leader, build trust. You want to usher people from where they are to where they can be, build trust. Live with integrity. The greatest thing somebody can say about you is that you're a man of your word. Not that you're the best player to ever come through your school. Not that you made a bunch of money, signed a big contract out of high school, but that you're a man of your word. Because a lot of things can be taken from you, fellas. You drive you a big, fancy car. Man, looking good, nice. Down in Texas, drive that F-350, dually 4-wheel drive with the AC in the seats. Yep, leather, boom, big body. I'm telling you though, big rig can be taken like that. Get you a big fancy house one day, hope you do. 7 jets in the shower, do your thing. But guess what? A big fancy house, be taken like that. Money, influence, fame, all can be taken. The one thing no one can take from you is your integrity. You see, if you don't have integrity, it's not because it was stolen, it's because you gave it away. You're the most powerful person in your world when it comes to your character. Nobody can make you do or say anything. Only you by your integrity. And we live in a world where it's easy to make big commitments when the motivation is high and the cost is low. Hey man, I'm gonna go all in. Hey, I'm gonna all state. I'm gonna get recruited. I'm gonna do this. And it costs you nothing to make a commitment. But who are you and what do you do when it gets switched? When the motivation is low and the cost is high. Who are you then? Do your commitments count for anything? We talked about we want that in a teammate. It's what is required of a leader. But I'm telling you that the measure of a man is what they do when it costs them more to do right than it does to do wrong. What they do when it costs them to keep their word. Because one day, as ugly as y'all are, y'all gonna get married. Sorry, man, that's messed up. Man, I wouldn't point at you in particular. It's kind of a generic comment. But one day, you'll get married, and you'll have a family. One day, the game will be over. And what someone's going to fall in love with you for is going to be this. The thing that you're going to want to raise up in your kids is this. Talent comes and goes, but a man's word, that's got to count for something. You with me? Tough people win. Integrity over everything. Growth follows belief. This idea that as you believe, so it comes true. Where you focus, you finish. I'll make this point very simply. How many of you, and you got to forgive me, because I got that Juan Gonzalez disease when I was in high school. I started doing a bench press. My chest got too big and my biceps got too big. Some of y'all don't know about that. But then it took my swing off the path, and so I got kicked off the baseball team. At least that's what I told myself. I think the truth is I just sucked. But one day my coach came to me. He said, Mackey, you're great at football, you're great at track, and you're great at leading. You should go do that. And that was the end of my baseball career. But I do remember this. How many of you, one at bat, you strike out? And you go to the next at bat and you tell yourself, don't strike out, don't strike out, don't strike out. And what do? Strike out. Where you focus, you finish. The actions you take are the result of what you believe. What you allow in your here travels the 18 inches from your here to your heart. takes root in your heart and comes to life in your hands. And so as we think about what do I believe about me, I told you you can't shame yourself into growth. When you think you're a piece of crap, stupid, guess how you start acting? Guess how you start treating yourself? When you believe that you're worth it, guess how you start acting? Like you're worth it. Guess how you start doing? Like you're worth it. Growth follows belief. And my simple encouragement to you is to believe that you're worth the work, as hard as it may be. Because then you start finding joy in that work. You go, this work is worth it. You take that pride in it. And all of a sudden, it changes how you do it. And then you start acting like someone who is successful. And you look around and you go, you know what? All these guys I want to be like, they don't do these things that I do. So you know what? Maybe I ought to stop doing those things. It changes. You start believing that you can. How you talk to yourself matters, right? It changes things. It changes your action. It changes the way you interact with your teammates. Growth follows belief. I would encourage you to be an over-believer in yourself. Doesn't mean to be cocky. You still got to be the right side, but to be an over-believer in what can be done. Take a risk on yourself. Too many of you are over-believers in your doubts. The doubts run through your mind. What you can't do, what you've never done. Family history. Fill in the blank. And those doubts, they creep up, and every time you try to rise above, they grab on, they pull you back down. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yep. To be an over-believer in yourself is to say, I can be a product of my past without being a prisoner of it. Like I can come from something without staying something. Whether that's my family, whether that's my past performance, whether that's my past reputation, even in my character, I can come from something without staying it. Right? I had to fight this myself. Right? I was born to a teenage mother. Mom, 16 years old. Blonde hair, blue eyes. My father, older black man. We lived in a small Texas town where racism was far from gone. Person after person, statistician, researcher, racist alike, would look at me and say, that boy will never make it. Predict I'd be less likely to graduate from high school, go to college, more likely to be arrested by my 18th birthday, father a child out of wedlock, and live a life of poverty. They said I would be a failure. But there were people in my life who believed in me. My maternal grandparents who chose to raise me. Just 1 year ago, they passed. September 7th for my mom, November 12th for my dad. I preached both their funerals. But they believed in me. They didn't see what the statistics said should be true of me. They saw who I could become when I chose to take responsibility for my life. They saw who I could become if I became a young man of great character, if I put in the work. They saw who I could become, and then their actions followed that belief. And they transferred it to me. And I began to believe. Such that there's not a single thing people said would be true of me that ever came true. So I wouldn't graduate from high school, go to college. First in my family to graduate from college with a 4-year degree. Went on to get a master's degree. Now I'm working on a doctorate degree. A couple years from now, you're going to call me Dr. Mackey. Showing up in the house. Let's go. Changing the course of my family's educational history. They said I'd be arrested by my 18th birthday. I've never seen the backseat of a police car. And today I get to travel literally across the country, working with athletes and coaches, students and educators, helping them get from where they are to where they want to be. Said I'd father a child out of wedlock. I had no problem telling you. The only woman I've ever slept with is my bride. Not a day one I regret waiting for her. We got 4 kids. There's nothing better than being called husband by my bride and daddy by my kids. Said I live a life of poverty. Yet my family will never know spiritual, emotional, or financial poverty. Never be a day that my kids will question there's food on the table, clothes on their back, or a roof over their head. Never once. Doesn't matter what I have to do. And I'm telling you, 5 years ago, talk about knowing the value and worth. 5 years ago, I was donating plasma in grad school to pay for groceries. But there was never a day that my wife questioned if there was going to be food on that table. There was never a day she had to question. In 1 week, I remember, this was 5.5 years ago. In 1 week, I donated plasma twice, mowed 4 yards, spoke at an event, and sold some stuff on like Craigslist just to make bills that week.
there was never a doubt. When you believe, it changes how you act. It gives you a sense of perseverance until what needs to be comes true.
Tough people win. Integrity over everything. Growth follows belief. Excellence everywhere. Where excellence is defined not as being the best, but in being your best. Fellas, hear this and don't miss it. Never let somebody else's best keep you from giving your best. Because what my best is in a moment is irrelevant to what your best is. That your best is yours. And by your integrity and your integrity alone, can you give your best. But when you get great at that, day in and day out, in the little things and in the big, when you give excellence in every little thing that you do, you ask the question, how can I give the best of me in service of the best of you, or whatever's in front of me? Then all of a sudden it doesn't matter if you're on the field. All right, what's the best at bat I can give right here? If you're in the outfield, what's the best I can do in whatever it is you do in the outfield? When you're in a conversation, what's the best eye contact I can give? When you give a handshake, what's the best handshake I can give? When you're in the classroom, what's the best notes that I can give? Whatever it is in front of you, the best of me to whatever's in front of me, regardless of what's around me. Fellas, that's a recipe to make you unstoppable. Because too often what people will do is they will give their best when their best is, one, better than someone else's, or it's easy to give their best. But those who live with excellence, they give their best regardless of anyone else's best, and they do the hard work even when it's hard to work. You understand? And so what this looks like very practically is that there will be days where you are 60%, and that's the best that you got. Excellence says, I'm going to give 100 of my 60. Too many people think if I can't give 100 of 100, then I just won't give it all. With me. When you can give 100 of whatever you have, you become dependable. People trust you. And those reps add up over time. And what starts as something small, 100% of 60, when you do that day after day, 31 days in a row, 180 days in a row, 365 days in a row, think about the reps that get built up and that muscle. Just like anything else, you get great at what you get reps at. And those with great championship character, they get great, they get reps, and so they get great at excellence, at giving their best to whatever's in front of them, regardless of what's around them. And that's a choice. But it's a choice that you've got to build up. And so you start. That's what's beautiful about the game of baseball. Because y'all are competitive. Y'all like to win. I love to win. I slam dunk on my 10-year-old so much I love to win. I love it, all right? No shame about it. And so baseball gives us an opportunity, a very fun classroom to go give our best. You get that rep at it, and then you just carry it on. So if I can get it in baseball, then I can do it in the classroom. Hello, like in algebra. They're putting letters and shapes and emojis in math equations. Hey, it's the same work ethic in baseball and algebra. Why? I'm giving my best right here. Right? I'm not going to phone it in. Right? And you get it in baseball, you get it in the classroom, get in the classroom, get in the hallway, get at the house, you get it for the rest of your life. Championship people win championships. Tough people win. Integrity over everything. Growth follows belief. Excellence everywhere. Number 5, 2 more. Relentless effort. That how you do what you do matters. That when you do what you do, you show up with some juice about you, some want to about you. Don't you know the best coaches in the world can't coach want to? If you don't have a little bit of piss and vinegar in you, I can't do nothing for you. I'll give you a little shot, a little motivation for a minute, but if there's not a drive in you to show up with some energy and some gratitude and some let's go-ness about you, come on, bro, what are we doing? Are you in the right spot? Are you playing the game because mama wants you to play the game? Because dad wants you to play the game? That's not going to get you very far. Right? So think about it. How do you build want to? How do you build juice and energy? Because I'm not talking about the fake energy where guys just,
LFG, let's go. And I'm like, bro, man, we are in the third inning of a double hitter. I'm just need you to turn it down a little bit. All right? But like, how do we get some juice about us? Be thankful. The more thankful you are, the more juice you'll bring to what you do. But if you're not thankful, I'm going to tell you right now, doesn't matter how much money they pay you, doesn't matter what notoriety, what fame comes, it's not going to be enough. There's nothing that will energize you like gratefulness. And I'm just telling you, it's something powerful about it. You think about getting to play in a place like this on a Friday. Y'all skip school. I guess it's technically not skipping, but y'all went to school today. All your friends are at school, and you're out here playing baseball, getting geared up, getting an opportunity to go to the next level. How many millions of kids, not just in America, but around the world, would give anything to be sitting right where you are? To have just in their pinky, just a bit of the talent that you have, a bit of the opportunity that you have. When you are entitled and you think that you are owed this, gratitude will drop, and so will your energy. It will require more praise, more reward, more upfront for you to give more effort when you are entitled. The opposite, when you are grateful, it takes less for you to get fired up. The more grateful you are, the less it takes you to get fired up. Like, you don't have to have the stadium to go play. But like, hey man, we go in the backyard, like the sand lot. I'm gonna play in the sand lot like I play at the stadium. Because you're just grateful to get to play the game. I said, gratitude is powerful, and it'll bring energy, and it'll give you just a sense of want to about what you do. I'm grateful to get to be here with y'all. And I speak to y'all with the same energy, passion. I speak to national champions. Same thing I'm giving you right now. 5,000 people or 5 people. I'm bringing this in because I'm just grateful to get to do this. Because I see dudes up on a roof in Texas just roofing. That's hard. That's work. And I'm thankful they do it. But I'm even more thankful that I ain't the one doing it. I get to do this for a living. I get to make an impact. You know, bring the juice. How you do what you do matters. All right? And that sense of effort, that relentlessness, I think more than anything comes from gratitude. Simple practice every day. Write down 3 things you're thankful for. Each day, get a journal on your phone. Write down 3 things that you're thankful for. In the first 5-6 days, you're going to write down the big things. Thankful for your family, for your house, for your truck, the big things. But once you get to day 35, day 38, what's going to begin to happen is you're going to start noticing the little things. Like things that you wouldn't have even realized were things to be thankful for, because you're going to start looking for them. Remember, where you focus, you finish. And the more you can be grateful, the more energy you'll have for what you do. Better teammate you'll be, the better you'll play. All right? Tough people win. Integrity over everything. Growth follows belief. Excellence everywhere. Relentless effort. And finally, service before self. I forget who said it, but I think over here we said it. In an ideal teammate, they would be selfless. All right? There are a lot of selfish people in the world who think the world revolves around me, myself, and I. And that a lot of what people strive for in life is to make it to such a station that everybody else has to do what they say. But I'm convinced the most successful, the ones who are the most satisfied in life, who reach their, are the ones who realize it's not about me, myself, and I. That whatever talent I have, whatever ability or influence I have, I want to give it and deploy it in service of others rather than exploit it in service of me. Because again, when you have that sense of I'm doing this for something bigger than self, you start working a lot harder for it. When you want to make it to the bigs, not just so that people know your name, but so that you can use your platform to make a difference, all of a sudden it changes how you play. It changes how tough you get, right? When you're sitting around and you start competing with teammates, when you compete selfishly, I'm trying to be better than you to put you down, more so than I'm trying to compete to lift me up. When I compete selflessly, I'm competing to make you better, because then your better is going to make my better. And when we are better together, then we can beat anybody. That there's a sense that you don't rise by putting other people down, but you rise by lifting other people up. And I'm telling you, when you get this, it's the secret to life. Zig Ziglar, the father of motivation, he put it this way: you'll never lose helping other people win. You will never lose using your best in service of other people. Because people will look around and go, man, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. When you get to the top, it's not lonely, because you got a whole host of people that are there just because of you. As a team, that's our mentality. When you get excited, hey man, I want to be the guy, when the game's on the line, put the ball in my hand. But you know what? I'm going to be just as excited for you, because if it's better for the team, for you to be the guy, then I'm for us. I'm for you. I'm going to cheer that on. Build trust. Right? So we think about these ideas. Tough people win. Integrity over everything. Growth follows belief. Excellence everywhere. Relentless effort. Service before self. These for me: toughness, integrity, belief, excellence, effort, service. That's championship character. And when you have a character like that, it'll amplify your talent in the game. And it'll set you up for success beyond the game. And so what we've made available for you, because I don't want this just to be an end of the day, rah, let's go, is on Tuesday night, you guys are all going to get a Zoom link. On Tuesday night, we're going to start the first of what will be monthly Zoom calls, where once a month, we're going to dive in to an idea of what it looks like to build championship character. You guys spend time with pitching coaches and hitting coaches and fielding coaches and strength conditioning coaches. All right? I'm your character and leadership coach. And we're going to spend time each month talking about what it looks like to build a championship character. It'll be a 1-hour Zoom. I'll be available to you guys, and if y'all need to reach out in between, I'll be available for you. We'll do a 1-hour Zoom once a month, and then I'm going to send you and make available to you 4 lessons. They'll be pre-recorded, but they'll be set up for you to watch 1 a week, and I'll have some worksheets with some questions for you to deep dive to build your character. You spend time building all these other things, we got to spend intentional time building this. And this is a way that we can do that. All right. So over the course of this year, all right, Future Stars is making available 10 different sessions where we can walk through, talk about what it looks like to build a championship character, have to build leadership, so that whenever you get wherever you're going, you won't be disqualified. That your character will be strong enough to hold the weight of the talent that you're so diligently working on. I told you at the beginning, fellas, I want more for you than to be someone who's really great at a baseball game, at a kid's game. I want you to win the game of life. And to do that, it's going to take championship character. So be on the lookout. Either your parents or you, whoever's kind of signed up to get communication, will come from Brian, and that information will come. But it'll be Tuesday night. I'm looking forward to meeting with you guys there and spending some time on that. If you can't make it on Tuesday, it'll be recorded, so you can come back and catch the replay on that. But I'm proud of you, fellas. I believe in you. Excited to see you all put the work in and then to reach your goals. But hear this and don't forget it. You'll be limited in life by your character long before you will your talent. And as hard as you work on your talent, you've got to work even harder on your character, so that your talent never outruns your character. Build a big, fast, strong talent, but build a bigger, faster, and stronger character. If you do that, wherever you go in the game of life, you'll find success. Proud of you fellas. Look forward to getting to know y'all this year. Wish you nothing but the best. Thank y'all so much.